What's going on, everyone? So reports have came out that the San Antonio Spurs are interested in Ryan Rollins. Kind of have my questions as to why. So supposedly the teams that are interested in Ryan Rollins are the Milwaukee Bucks, which is where he just came from, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Phoenix Suns, the San Antonio Spurs, the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Those are the 5 teams interested in a potential Ryan Rollins acquisition. The reason I don't really understand it, I like Ryan Rollins a lot, right? He's 23 years old, literally just turned 23 like days ago. He is a silky smooth, mid-range, just bucket getter. He's a guy that could be that legit, point of attack defensive guy and also just go get buckets. He's best in that, he'd be best in the Lou Williams type role, in my opinion, right? Maybe evolve into that clear-cut starter. But I think right now, if given the right role, right minutes, right opportunity, I think he could be a guy that go get you, be like that 6-man bucket getter off the bench. I would personally, if it was me, I would look for him to be aggressive. Hey, here's the ball. I just need you to go get buckets, right? He can play some off ball, obviously playing in Milwaukee alongside Damian Lillard and guys like that. He started several games in Milwaukee, came from the Golden State Warriors, playing alongside Steph and Clay and all that. So, there is a version of Ryan Rollins that can play off ball and whatnot, but he's 6'3", 6'4" range. So he's not a guy that, could be that guy that can defend 1 through 3. Maybe, you see some guys, 6'3", 6'4", and can defend big, right? He is a good defender. He's getting incredibly young. He's not a perfect player, right? I don't want to hype him up like he's this superstar, Spurs, go get him immediately. But he is a guy that I do think could play a real role for the Spurs long term. And again, just kind of be that bucket getter off the bench for the Spurs team. However, the reason I don't really get why the Spurs would be interested in him is because you have De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, right? You already have an abundance of guards. The last thing they need right now is guards, right? If anything, I think that they need another, a 6'7", kind of versatile, kind of play 2 through 4, but really kind of that 2-3 wing. And then, I think there's an argument that they should go get another big man, right? So I think you just kind of look at the Spurs team. I don't think Ryan Rollins makes sense for them, right? If they were to trade for Devin Vassell, or trade, not for Devin Vassell, but trade Devin Vassell and kind of clean up some of the guard depth, right? Say Brenham ends up going and it's kind of okay, all we have is kind of Harper, Castle, and De'Aaron Fox. That's the 3 guards. Then yeah, bring in Ryan Rollins and cheap. There you go. Kind of give him a prove it deal. And I think he'd be great. Right? He could kind of slot in your 2, so you could have, say, whatever, De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle as your starting guards, and then have a Dylan Harper and a Ryan Rollins as your backup guards. I'd be okay with that. I think that would be great. I think there's some real potential there. Like I said, he's young enough to where he could be a long-term kind of piece, continue to grow, develop, kind of fit in the system. He's a guy that can be a bit of a swing man, rebound the basketball, but he's an efficient scorer, particularly, again, in that mid-range. He, if you watch the NBA Finals, right, think of what TJ McConnell did to the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's Ryan Rollins. Right? Ryan Rollins is a guy that can get into the teeth of the defense, collapse the defense, kind of be a guy, not really a playmaker, but he's a guy that, can find the occasional cutter, maybe find that lob threat, kind of operate in that, again, that Lou Williams role where he can just go be that bucket getter, right? Be a guy that is aggressive, downhill, in attack mode, crafty, kind of collapse the defense, create that dribble penetration. That's where I look at him at. Think of De'Aaron Fox. He is a mid-range assassin. He operates in that midi area. Ryan Rollins could be another guy that does that. And in all honesty, especially come playoff time, those guys are insanely valuable. Look at every team that has won the championship the last handful of years. Almost all of them have guys that operate in the mid-range. SGA, for example, right? You look at the Indiana Pacers have multiple guys that operate in the mid-range. Right? You go back, several years. Boston, Jason Tatum, right? Jaylen Brown, all these guys can operate in the mid-range. Yeah, they shoot a ton of threes, but Jason Tatum kind of operates in that, that weak side elbow and all that, right? Denver has multiple guys that operate in the mid-range, right? When they won their championship, right? You just kind of go down the list of the teams, and they all have guys that can operate in the mid-range. So to have a De'Aaron Fox, have a Ryan Rollins, I think that could kind of be something that you could exploit in other teams. And why is the mid-range so important for those that are asking? It's because particularly come playoff time, teams make it such an apparent that hey, you need to close out hard on shooters because they don't want to give up wide open threes. So you want to close out hard on shooters and you want to protect the paint, right? So protect the rim, close out hard on shooters, which leaves all this open space, which is why most mid-range players usually have really good success come playoff time. But I digress. Point is, Ryan Rollins, I think, is a guy that I would love to have on the Spurs. I just, like I said, you'd have to kind of clean up some of your guard play first. I mean, Devin Vassell, maybe you could play at the 3, but you're just so small. Right? I understand people might look at OKC and be like, well, they're they got 10 guards on the roster. It's about just 6'3" to 6'6" guards. But again, their main core guys are all a couple 6'3" guys, but mostly 6'5", 6'6", and they're all just defensive, just menaces, right? They're not really all scoring guards. They're all defend, lock down, shoot the 3-and-D style guards, just get into the chest of everybody and just be relentless. You just get wave after wave after wave of these just aggressive, physical guards, right? That, again, Spurs, it's you can have 5 guards, but it's who are the defensive guards? Stephon Castle's the one guy. Again, Ryan Rollins, I think, can be a defensive guard, but he's, again, more of a bucket getter. He's a guy that wants to score the basketball more. Same thing with a Dylan Harper. De'Aaron Fox, yeah, he can play some defense and he can defend, but again, he's more of that scoring guard. So, I don't know if you can have 15 guards on a team like the Spurs. I think you'd have to kind of clean some stuff up, which if they did, then yes, I'd be all for bringing in Ryan Rollins and kind of letting him kind of play a role and just see what can he do, right? And he'd be cheap, right? You could operate him as your cheap Devin Vassell and just kind of see, can he kind of give you similar production to Vassell? Because you got to keep in mind, if you were to trade Vassell, right? Ryan Rollins, yeah, he could kind of play this role, but you could have other guys kind of step up and a Dylan Harper and stuff kind of offset all of that, right? So you wouldn't, Dylan Harper's probably coming in to replace Vassell, right? So if you could kind of get a version of Vassell off the bench that could be just that bucket getter, that scorer, play some defense, right? Shoot the 3 ball. I think that could go a long way. But what can he provide to a team, right? Okay, well, last season was his best season. It was his most minutes, most opportunity, most everything. 56 games played, 19 games started, just under 15 minutes per game, 14.6. He shot 4.8 field goal attempts, shot 48.7% from the floor, shot 41% from three-point range on 2.1 attempts. By the way, these are all career highs. 40.1% for three-point range, 55% EFG, or 57.7% EFG, 55% from 2-point range on 2.7 attempts. And then the EFG, he actually had a season which was 75%, which was last year with Milwaukee, but it was on 0.7 attempts. It was not a bunch. He didn't really get an opportunity there, right? This was the first year he had a real opportunity. Free throw percentage, 80% on basically just under 1 attempt. The most that he's shot was 1.7 free throws per game with Washington, and he was 76.5%. So that's a good sign. Rebounding, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, half a block, and 6.2 points per game. His per 36. Again, per 36 doesn't tell you everything, but it kind of gives you an idea of what could he be in a full-time starter role. He'd be 15.3 points, 4.7 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 2 steals, and a block per game. If you can get Ryan Rollins, I wouldn't hate it. I'm all for it. Make it happen. But again, I'd kind of lean towards, just stick to the script, go get another center or another big man, maybe a 6'10" guy and kind of slot in, play the 4 or the 5, and then go get maybe another, again, 6'7" kind of versatile wing. And then I think the Spurs would be in really good shape there. But, we'll see. Again, obviously, Spurs now with Fox and Wemby, and they're trying Dylan Harper, and they're trying to, win sooner rather than later. They're going to be linked to a lot of reports for guys in general, right? You see usually the same teams of like the Lakers and the Knicks and all that stuff. Spurs, I think, are going to be kind of starting to be in that mix pretty heavily, right? But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.